Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. My name is Oluyemi Adeosun. Tonight, we'll be looking at the topic career development opportunities and initiatives. And I'm happy, excited, elated to have facilitating for the first of many, hopefully, Chinaza Dimejesi. And I would like to introduce her to us briefly. She's a result-driven HR manager, works with Broadoaks British School. She champions talent development, employee engagement, and organizational excellence. She has an MBA in management and a strong background in shaping people's strategies. She also has a proven passion for helping individuals and teams unlock their potential. She's also the founder of HR Career Guidance Program, an initiative dedicated to mentoring and supporting aspiring and practicing HR professionals in building rewarding careers. As a facilitator, Chinaza brings energy, clarity, and practical approach that keeps participants engaged, with equipping them with tools they can immediately apply. She's committed to turning every learning session into a transformative experience, which we will obviously experience today. Speaking to us this evening on the topic career development opportunities and initiatives, let's receive Chinaza Dimejesi. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adeosun. It's really a pleasure to be here. It's my first time facilitating a program or a training session on HR mentorship, and it is truly an honor. So today we are going to be looking at career development opportunities and initiative from the HR's point of view. So basically, it's going to be talking about how HR as professionals in our different organizations would be monitoring or would be implementing strategies to drive career development opportunities, and also to look for initiatives that we can use to help employees develop their careers. So before I go on, please confirm you can hear me clearly.
We already confirmed that, my sister. Please go on.
Okay.
We already did. You remember.
All right. So I would want to ask anyone, what is the first thing you understand when you hear career development? So anybody can answer that question. When you hear career development, what's the first word that comes to mind? Anybody? Study Ocean. Is anybody on the floor? Okay. Career growth. Okay. Soloa Lopez said career growth. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, that's fine. Okay, so let's explore what career development opportunities and initiatives are. So basically, we are going to be exploring the strategic approaches, the frameworks, the innovative initiative that can help to transform how employees in an organization can grow and also thrive in their careers. And just so we know that career development doesn't actually take the traditional concept, which is climbing the ladder. So you start as an HR assistant, then you move on to being an HR officer, then you move on to being an associate, then you move on to being a manager or a chief people officer. So the way career development has evolved now, it is very important that HR professionals understand the trend in career development and able to devise strategies and means to make sure that employees within an organization are developing and are growing, and that would essentially benefit both the organization, and the employee themselves. So it's also important that we also understand what the role of the HR is within the organization in regards to career development opportunities. So basically, we are supporting employee growth. We serve as career coaches, we mentor employees, we advocate also, we serve as advocates for individual employee development. So basically, we do this by conducting meaningful career conversations during, say, performance reviews or probation reviews. We are also able to do this by identifying individual strengths and development areas, and also by providing personalized guidance and resources, and then also by advocating, making sure that we are able to push for employee advancement opportunities. And then we are also involved in building organizational systems. So we are like the architects that make sure that we're able to design the infrastructure, the systems, the entire systems that makes up the career growth that's possible across the organization. So when we talk about designing programs, creating the policies that enhance career development, making sure that we put in place the culture where development is possible. And so we are able to do this by designing comprehensive development programs, creating clear career progression frameworks, establishing mentorship, and then building succession planning processes. So moving on. So what is career development? It's very important that we understand what career development is. So it is a lifelong process of managing learning, work, leisure, and transition to move towards a personally determined and evolving preferred future. So it is dynamic, it is personalized, and it is continuously adapting to individual circumstances and market changes. So it just says that career development is a lifelong thing. It's not limited to a particular point in somebody's career. It is continuous. So we know that learning is a lifelong process. We know that development is a lifelong process. I mean, for someone to attain the height of their career, they have to go through a lot of development stages. And for you to actually attain, your dream, where you aim to be in life, you have to go through a lot of development. And so each person in an organization has what it is they are looking towards, or what it is they are aiming towards. And so it is just the organization or the HR's duty to make sure that we are able to meet them at the point where they are able to get that support and move up their career ladder. So the modern reality is the fact that career development acknowledges that the paths are really linear. So it means that they can be divergent. It doesn't follow one straight line. It can take different shape, it can take different forms. So we just need to know exactly where to meet every employee at every given point. So it says employees may move sideways, they might take career breaks, they might pursue portfolio careers, or completely reinvent themselves professionally. So our role is just to be able to support, the different journeys that they decide to take. So it is their, you need to understand that career development is individual. Like it is more about the individual, that's the employee, and a little bit more about the organization. So we should be able to balance things and find a way to make it like a win-win situation where the employee benefits and then the organization also benefits from it in the long run. So we will also now explore why career development matters now more than ever. So the first is that it attracts top talents. So we know that in today's competitive world, there are a lot of talents everywhere. But how are we able to attract the very top of the top of the top, right? Is when we offer them career development opportunities. So organizations with robust development programs consistently outperform competitors in talent acquisition, attracting high caliber professionals who value continuous learning. The only way top talent become top talent is by going through a lot of development programs or development opportunities. So they won't become top talents just by sitting in their house, not learning anything, not going through any learning opportunities, or not being offered any learning opportunities. A lot of people, when you ask them during interviews, or when they ask you during interviews, sorry, a lot of people, what they ask during interviews is that, are there career opportunities in the organization? How do the organization support employee growth and development? So if the organization is not known to support employees' growth and development, it will be very hard for that organization to attract top talents. So it is very important that organizations begin to, or really, really understand what it is that career development and adding development programs into their system, what it does for the employee and what it does for the organization, because it helps the organization to actually perform better than their competitors. And then it also drives performance. So people that see themselves, they see that, okay, the fact that I'm learning this, it means that the organization has it in mind to retain me and to prepare me for any future opportunities or any future, maybe leadership opportunities or promotional opportunities that may come up in the future. And then I know that I'm going to benefit from this. So career development initiative create a sense of purpose. It also creates a sense of direction that would, directly translate into improved performance and innovation. And then the next one is that it retains valuable employees. So we know that one of the strategies for talent acquisition and talent retention is through career development and growth. So we know now that career development matters to organization because it helps to retain valuable employees. So it says that research consistently shows that lack of career advancement opportunities is amongst the top reasons employees will leave an organization. So it is now very important that we have a clear development path and growth opportunities for employees. If we aim to retain top talent, then we have to create a path for them to grow within the organization. And creating that path has to do with creating development plans, career development programs that they would use to prepare themselves for that path or that destination that we aim for them in the organization. And so the next one is that it helps to build resilience. And we know that resilience has to do with really, really adapting to change, being very flexible, being able to navigate any form of change that comes into the organization, or any disruption in business, any disruption in technology, or any technological advancement. So by the time you put in place as an organization career development programs or career development opportunities for the employees, they are better prepared for any change at all. So it is not, career development should not be a reactive, how will I put it now? It shouldn't be like a reactive strategy. It should be more of a proactive strategy, to building resilience within the organization. So when you put in career development programs, you are able to train the employees to be prepared for any change at all in the workplace, right? So if there is any introduction of technology, say the way AI is taking over a lot of jobs now, or a lot of business sessions, let me just say sectors, right? You would essentially, if the employees have been prepared beforehand, they would actually be able to adapt easily to these changes. So they will not panic, or they will not resist any form of change management that you're trying to introduce to the organization. So it helps employees to adapt easily to any form of change that comes up that might affect the organization. So it creates like an internal capability that strengthens organizational resilience and competitive advantage. So moving on. I hope you're able to see my screen very clearly. So career development opportunities and initiatives can come in, or can come up in different ways. So it can be through formal training and education. And we can see this through workshops and seminars, postgraduate programs, professional certifications, leadership academies. So workshops and seminars like this ones, they're usually very short term, they are very focused. So you know that like a training like this is focused on how to build career development opportunities and initiatives in an organization. It is very focused. It is just very short term. It can be 1 hour, it can be 2 hours, it can be 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. It is just very short term. Then we have the professional certification. I mean, a lot of us have CIPM qualifications. We have SHRM certifications. And so these ones are usually to build credibility and just to validate expertise, right? Then we have the postgraduate programs, more of building theoretical knowledge, building your knowledge, your theoretical knowledge about HR, or about management, or about finance, or anything, just to deepen your knowledge, your theoretical knowledge about certain fields. Then we have the Leadership Academy that is really targeted at helping people to build leadership skills, so that they are able to, they are prepared for any leadership opportunities that might come up in the future. Then another form of development, career development opportunities are mentorship and coaching programs, right? And we know that there's a difference between mentorship and coaching. So mentorship is more long-term than coaching, right? So you're pairing, for mentorship, you're pairing experienced people or experienced employees with, maybe entry-level employees or colleagues, just so that they're able to guide them through their career, help them understand what it is that is expected of them at every given point, help them to understand maybe workplace politics, or anything that has to do with professionalism in the workplace, how they should act, how they should conduct themselves. That is what mentorship is really about. But coaching is usually, let's say, more short-term, because it's mostly focused on helping someone develop a particular skill, right? So let's say there's a salesperson that is falling short of targets, that is not meeting his target. They can organize, say, a coaching session for this person to just help this person boost his or her sales target, right? And then it's basically also to enhance performance, right? So both of them are just really important career development tools that can go beyond formal training, also fostering lasting relationship and meaningful growth. So when we talk about structured mentoring programs, we're talking about having measurable outcomes. And so we know that success depends on carefully matching maybe, for example, carefully matching a new employee with an older employee, right? And making sure that there is continuous, or there is ongoing program support. And when we say carefully matching, you have to understand what this older older colleague is able to offer the younger colleague. So what are the qualities of this older colleague? What is this person able to offer this younger colleague or younger employee? What is the person's position and how will the person's role impact the new employee? So you need to take a lot of things into consideration before you pair people into roles. So for instance, the way we've been doing it in, say, the organizations I've worked in, if for instance we have new people right in the workplace, we usually look at, okay, what is their department, what is their role, and then we pair them with people that have been in the system for a very long time, pair them with them and they're in the same department, pair them together with this long-term employee, and then the person is able to offer mentoring or mentorship session. So the goal is for the new employee to really integrate into the system fully and to be able to really understand what the organizational systems are, method of working, the way they do things in their department, and then offer some support when it comes to the work itself. So it's not really about coaching. So we are not teaching or training somebody on a particular skill. We're just giving them like a robust support to just help them integrate fully into the system. Then we have the pair coaching circles, which typically groups professionals of the same level, groups them together so that they are able to provide or share challenges together, provide insights, and also provide solutions to different issues that they might encounter at every given point. So it leverages collective wisdom and builds strong professional network. So we'll still talk about how HR can facilitate this at every given point. So how and when this is very important, okay? Then we have the leadership shadowing. So it's basically when, for instance, we are looking at a top performer. We are looking at that person, being promoted to a senior leadership role. So we would have that person shadow somebody that's already in leadership, say for a particular period of time, and then the person is able to, observe how this senior leader works, then is able to gain insight into how to make decisions that are really strategic, able to learn how to manage stakeholders, able to, learn how to have that, executive presence, that voice, that voice that helps them to, have this leadership courage. So these things are not something that you can teach in the classroom. It's not something you would really learn in, say, your master's program or anything. It's just something very practical. So we know that most times what we learn in school is theoretical, and of course there are times when we have the practical experience, maybe through internships or through say maybe exchange programs and all that. But this particular leadership shadowing is like working in a leader's shadow. So you're working in the person's shadow, you are acting how the person is acting, you're observing, you are making sure that you're taking note of how this person acts and then applying it to yourself. Also reflecting, having the person reflect on, okay, how would I react in a particular situation if I was this particular leader, right? So that is what leadership shadowing is about. Then another way that we can implement career development opportunities and initiative is through job rotation and cross-functional exposure, right? So job rotation, we know it's having employees move from one role to another or move from one department to the other. And then cross-functional would be moving from one function to another. So, and helping them have that level of exposure, right? So basically it just helps employees with ability to they have a broad organizational understanding. So they are not limited to the understanding that they have. They're not limited by, say, being in a particular department for 5 years or 10 years. So most times we see this in, say, graduate training programs where employees are made to move from one department to the other, just so that they're able to learn what every department is about, gather some experience, gather some skills and all that. And then is usually for developing future leaders who need comprehensive business knowledge. So somebody that they're looking at to becoming maybe a manager, a branch manager, or a CEO would need to move from one role to the other so that they can really understand the ropes of that particular role or that particular department. So moving on, there's another one called the stretch assignment and then career pathing. So stretch assignment represents one of the most effective ways to accelerate career development by providing employees with opportunities to work beyond their current role boundaries. So it challenge individuals to build new capabilities while contributing to important organizational objectives. So when we talk about stretch assignments, we are saying we want people to, we are giving employees challenging projects that are beyond their comfort zone. So we are pushing them beyond their comfort zone just so that we are able to test their leadership readiness and for them to be able to build resilience and also problem-solving skills. So it's usually we usually use this, or it's usually used maybe when there's a change or there are transformation projects in sight, right? So we have the project leadership. So leading cross-functional initiatives such as implementing new HR technology systems, designing employee engagement programs, or managing organizational restructures. These projects develop project management, stakeholder engagement, and change leadership skills. So we also have special assignments. Basically, you can see them maybe when you are during mergers and acquisition activities. So we know that mergers and acquisition, they are usually very complex projects, right? And so when you have someone handle it, you're stretching that person beyond what they actually know. And then when you have someone lead task force projects that address specific business challenges, you are stretching them beyond what they would usually do, what they are used to. So you're taking them out of their comfort zone and having them do a project that they've never done before. Then another way through stretch assignments is maybe like innovation projects. So you have them involved in developing new products, new services, or new organizational processes. So basically for them to be able to develop or enhance or find new ways, of enhancing their creative thinking, their ability to take risk, or to even, enhance or develop entrepreneurial skills that would benefit the organization in their innovation and maybe their competitive advantage as well. Then moving to the next one, we have the career pathing and succession planning. I know a lot of us know about succession planning, but do we also know about career pathing? So career pathing is just basically defining career progression routes. Career progression routes within the organization. So basically clarifying employee growth options. So you're showing exactly to the employee what option is available to them to explore, right? So we are involving the employee in it. So basically you use it also when retention is low, maybe due to lack of clarity of what is available to the employee, and also for high demand roles that needs stability. right? So using career pathways or pathing, it just provides employees with transparency about what is available to them, how they can advance, what they can explore, what opportunities are available to them within the organization, right? Whilst also helping the organization to build their talent pipelines for critical roles. So for instance, if I think a clear example would be a time when we were looking for a head of a department in my organization. We had to look internally, right? And initially we wanted to recruit this person from outside the organization, but having gone through a lot of recruitment processes and not finding the fit for that particular role, we had to come inward, we had to look inward and see, okay, who is actually prepared to take on this role, right? So if, for instance, we had done maybe before I joined the organization, or maybe at the point where this person was actually building the leadership skills, there was a career pathing for this person would have known, okay, at a particular point, I'm going to be the head of this particular department. So I'm going to I'll have to start building these skills or this, these experiences, just so that I am prepared for when this role comes up. But I don't know if that was done before I joined, but we had to look inward, and she was really the best fit for being the head of department and all that. So career pathing just helps employees to know what is available for them, and it also helps the organization to know, okay, how to position opportunities for this person to be able to grow, and how to offer support for this person. So we see this path here. So starting from being an HR associate, someone can move on to being an HR officer, and then to being an HR manager, and then to being an HR business partner, and if possible, becoming HR, maybe chief people officer and all that. So if this is not, some organizations don't have what's the English I would use for this now? They do not really have, they're not big enough, they don't have the robust structure to actually have all these, roles, all these levels in a department. So what the career can look like, or what the career pathway can look like for an employee in that kind of organization could be maybe entry-level HR assistant to HR manager, and then you're looking at the HR head of department, and that's it. But it's very important that we're able to let employees understand what is available to them in the organization. So moving on, we have two models. There are actually more than two models, but when we are looking at what is available right now, or what is trending, what is the modern way of doing things, we're looking at the Protean careers and the boundaryless careers, right? So the Protean careers is taken from the Greek, is like an adaptation from who the Greek god Proteus is. He's able to change shape, is a shapeshifter. So he can change to any shape at all. So it's just a representation of the fact that a lot of employees can change careers at any given point. So it is usually say self-directed, it's usually employee motivated, right? So it's an approach where individuals take primary responsibility for their career development, and mostly about adaptability, continuous learning, and usually aligns with the person's values. So it doesn't really follow the traditional career, type. So for the traditional career type, we are looking at, okay, going from being an HR assistant in an organization to being an HR associate, to being an HR manager, to being HR director and all that. So it's a ladder for the traditional, it's a ladder. So that is where you hear, I want to climb the career ladder, or this person is climbing a career ladder and all that. But for the Protean, you can move from being, say, HR associate or HR manager to being a consultant, right? Or just, working on your own. So it's just about doing things that really satisfies the person. So it is value driven. It is based on what this person really wants for his or her life. This is what I want. This is what will give me value. This is what will make me happy, right? So it's not really about, okay, the salaries or the financial or monetary benefit of it. It's more about the satisfaction that this person gets from being in a particular place at a particular time. So it doesn't really follow the structured traditional career model. So it is self-directed, it is value-driven, it is a form of continuous skill development and adaptation. It uses the portfolio approach to career building. So you're looking at somebody building portfolio in different areas. Okay, I have this skill, I have this skill, I can do this in HR, I can do this in HR, I can be a talent and acquisition specialist, I can also be a rewards, I can also be an employee engagement champion, I can also be an HR compliance person, or I can be HR, what's the other one? Yeah, any other aspect of HR, right? I can just be a specialist in a particular field, and then in my next role, I am this in another organization, or I am this in another organization, or I am just an HR consultant, helping organizations in a particular area, right? Then when we now talk about boundaryless career, we are saying that this person is not limited by, say, the employers, or the industry, or the location the person is. The person can offer services to different people at different times. So that is where you see maybe freelancers or people that work in the gig economy. So it is usually based on what um, is more monetary driven than value driven. So you will now see where you see aspects of cross industry or cross functional mobility. People get to advance in their career through, the people that they know, through their network, right? That is where you see flexible work arrangements and remote opportunities. That is where you see people that also have their side hustles, they're entrepreneurs, and they can work from anywhere. They can take on different jobs at different times. They can do you see people that can do graphics design, and they can also do UI UX, and they can also do web design, and they can also do um, um, mobile app design for different people. All this for different people. So that is where you see boundaryless career. So now, how do you as an HR person support modern career models? So you have to provide, as an HR in an organization, and you're working with people with modern career models, people that subscribe to this kind of models, right? How do you support them? So first, you have to provide them with flexible arrangements. So, say, providing them with remote work, flexible hours, job sharing, giving them sabbaticals. They're able to, anything that is able to help them, pursue their diverse career interests or experiences while still maintaining organizational connections. Then also providing them with external network opportunities. So you encourage them to participate in, say, anything that is related to their profession, go for seminars, go for outdoor events, go for join associations, go for conferences, go for any external mentorship programs, just so that they're able to expand their career perspective beyond what the organization would provide them. So they are exposed, they are gaining knowledge, they are also increasing their network, and they are gaining more for themselves intellectually. Then you also provide them, or you support them by providing innovation support, right? So if somebody is interested in, say, entrepreneurship, you provide them platforms um, for enhancing their entrepreneurial skills, right? You provide them opportunities for anything, that could provide that can help them to be more innovative, right? So also provide them with projects that allow them to explore the entrepreneur's interests. So you can provide them with maybe any, say, develop this app for this particular project or for this particular side of the business, or work on this product, work with this person, work on this service, any side projects, even if it is not related to actually what they do, but something that would help them um, to build on their knowledge, to be more innovative, and to stretch them a little bit. Yeah. So moving on. Okay, I hope you guys are able to see this. So HR strategic role, continuing in career development, right? So how are we strategically enhancing career development? So we know that anything HR does within the organization should help the organization to grow. It should be tailored to the organization's vision, the organization's overall objective, right? So as HR, we play a multifaceted role in creating and sustaining effective career development initiative. And so our responsibilities span from strategic program design to individual coaching, requiring us to operate at both systemic and personal levels to create meaningful development opportunities. So what is our role? What is our strategic role in career development? First is program design. So creating mentoring schemes, creating structured learning pathways, and talent review process. So we are talking about analyzing talent needs, or learning needs. We analyze learning needs. We then consult different stakeholders within the organization. We also talk about resource allocation. We talk about what the success metrics would be. We define that, and we make sure that the program delivers meaningful outcomes. So in analyzing what the learning needs are, we need to really understand that this learning need should be tied to what the organization needs at the moment, and also what the employee would need to succeed in their career or in their role, right? So if an employee is new to the organization, you want to really know, okay, what skills do you have? What skills don't you have? What skills do we need to train you on? Sometimes we also employ employees with the knowledge that, okay, we are going to train them on certain things. Maybe we are going to train them on the technology that we use in the organization, maybe any ERP that we are working with. Okay, we already have that in mind. So we already have the analysis. We've analyzed that. We know what, the employee would need to learn and where the gaps exist. And then we now talk about stakeholder consultation. That would be meeting the different, say, the people that really would be working with this employee, or maybe his manager, his supervisor, or anybody that would have ample interest in the work that this person does needs to be consulted, because you need to know, okay, what does this person need? What would this person need? Or how do you think we should design a career development plan for this person? What does this person need in addition to what we already know? What else do you think this person would really need to succeed in this role, right? And then we allocate different resources. So when we talk about resources, we're not talking about the financial or the monetary part of it. We are talking about, okay, what training resources are available right now for this person to explore, right? Who are the people that we can allocate, or that we can assign to this person to just help this person grow or gain the relevant skills. So resource could be humans, resource could be non-humans, say maybe courses, could even be, go and pay for this course, we are paying for this course, go and take this course, or coaching It could be assigning, say, a fellow employee or a fellow colleague, a pair, to this person, so that the person is able to, transfer the knowledge he has about, say, the technology to the new person, right? Then we have the culture building, which is very important. So you want to implement, or you want to make sure that learning is in the DNA of the organization, right? How do people in the organization perceive career development? How do they, how are they encouraged to, be self-motivated enough to even take up, that um, part of, developing themselves in their own career? How do you make sure that they are self-motivated, that they take it upon themselves to make sure that, they are fully involved in what HR is doing, or what the organization is doing, to just improve their own career? There are people that, um, even if you put in all the resources in the world, making sure that they develop themselves, or they take on some courses, or they learn something new, as long as they are not really driven, right? They would go through that course without learning anything. So it has to be a norm within the organization to be, for employees to want to learn, right? So it says making growth a cultural norm rather than an afterthought is very important. So it will involve celebrating development successes, recognizing managers who invest in their teams, and creating an opportunity where learning is valued and supported. So you just want to create that kind of culture. You want to put in place those systems that, makes learning something that is very interesting, or something very motivational, something self-driven for the employees themselves. Then another strategic role of HR in career development is access facilitation, right? Access facilitation. So you want to connect employees with external courses, online platforms, LinkedIn, Coursera. We also have, there are dedicated platforms, learning platforms for different roles or for different sectors. So for, say, education, we are talking about Test Develop, right? It's a platform for education, for teachers, for people in the educational field, right? So you want to make sure that employees have easy access to it. They can go there and take course at any time, right? We don't have to maybe assign, yes, you assign some courses, but you don't have to assign courses to them at every given point. Once you've made the employee, the organization, once you've made the organization in an environment where culture is like self-driven, people are motivated to learn on their own, once you've been able to create that culture, then you should provide them with, platforms or opportunities where they can easily go and learn. So you cannot build a culture of learning and then you don't give them something to work with, right? So you build a culture, you provide the means, right? So you provide the means, you provide access to platforms, you pay for platforms for them to use to learn, because at the end of the day, to benefit the organization, right? So as HR, we serve as brokers between individual development needs and available resources. So we are in the middle. We are able to bring these two things together. We are we are we are we are helping individuals to develop themselves, and then we are providing people with available resources, right? So another role is strategic coaching. So you are guiding career conversations during performance reviews, um, helping employees identify strength and development areas, and then providing internal personalized advice on career progression, strategies, and skill development priorities, right? So after performance appraisals or performance reviews, whether it's probation review or performance appraisals, you want to really identify areas that employees are struggling with. You want to identify their strengths and you want to identify their development areas, right? And from there, you should be able to prefer personalized, say, advice, or even personalized plans for them to actually maybe either keep growing in their strength or to build, develop those areas that they need to build that are, areas of concerns for the organization. So that is where you would maybe see people build HR building PIPs, performance improvement plans, maybe individual development plans or corrective action plans, just so that they are able to, correct those areas or to really improve on areas where they are lacking or that causes concern for the organization. So you want to really make sure that you really, really understand the performance appraisal process and then use the insights you gain from the appraisal to identify strength and to also build plans for them to develop in areas where they're lacking. So another one would be policy development, which is very, very, very important. So embedding career development into performance management frameworks, reward system, and promotion criteria. So during appraisal, sometimes where I work, we ask questions like, how many courses have you taken? In fact, they come into the appraisal sessions with evidence of courses they've taken, evidence of trainings they've gone through, things they've learned. We ask them questions like, what is one new thing you've learned and how have you applied it into your role, just so that it is very clear that you are meant to be learning, that learning is something that should be yours to own, right? It should be your own process of developing yourself, right? So it's very important that we have policies in place that encourages career development. So we tie it into performance management frameworks, we tie it into reward systems. So we are rewarding people that have taken it upon themselves to maybe go on courses, pay for courses, go for some training and all that. We reward them. And we also use as promotion criteria. Of course, we know that succession planning is also a thing. And so for you to actually succeed or be promoted into a role, you have to have gone through a lot of trainings. You have to have gone through some trainings. You have to have gone through some courses. You have to have trained yourself. You have to have gotten the experience and all that. So it is very important that we have policies in place that make sure they recognize career development as a means of maybe getting reward, getting promoted in the workplace. So moving on. Effective career development initiatives require robust measurements and evaluation to demonstrate value and identify areas for improvements. Key metrics include employee engagement scores, internal promotion rates, retention statistics, and skill development assessment. So this is how you are able to know if your career development initiatives are really working, right? So average retention improvements in organizations with structured career development programs is at 73%. And then say internal promotion, higher likelihood of high internal advancement with formal mentoring relationship would lead to 2.3 times retention rate, and then 45% engagement increase, boosting employee engagement when clear career paths are communicated. So you need to be able to measure your efforts in driving career development in an organization. And so by measuring the impact, you'll be able to know where to actually direct your efforts and how to tweak the career development initiatives to actually improve processes in the organization and initiatives within the organization as well. So moving on. So as much as we are wanting to implement career development programs within the organization or career development opportunities within the organization, we need to know when. when to apply this or when to implement this in the organization. We need to know when to apply them within the organization or when to implement them. Okay, so at the timing of career development interventions significantly impacts the effectiveness, strategic implementation. Okay, sorry, strategic implementations requires understanding organizational cycles, employee life cycles, and business priorities to maximize impact and resource utilization. So the first stage, or the first stage would be the onboarding stage. So it's very important that from the very first start, you are able to establish some career development grounds with the employees. So you are helping new hires to have a clear picture of their career path within the organization, what is available to them. You have early discussions with them. When they come in, you sit down with them, understand what their career needs are, and then you also go through the available career path with them so that they understand what is, in store, what is in the future for them, and then they know how to, motivate themselves to also get there. So it also helps to demonstrate to the employee that you are invested in their future, that the organization is invested in their future, right? And it helps them to have a sense of belonging within the organization. So they know that, oh, okay, I'm here now, the organization thinks about me, they're really invested in, my career and my growth. They're concerned about my growth. And so I think I would want to stay here for longer. So it's not after having that conversation with them, then you go and sit down. You need to put that plan into motion. You need to work on that plan if you have to, if you want to really retain this person. Because some organizations, once the employee gets into the organization, those first time aura that comes, when you're new in a place and, you're just very excited about the place. And then you begin to employees begin to look for, okay, what are these things that they promised me? Where are they? Where are these things they promised me? They promised me I will start this training. They promised they're going to send me to this course. They promised they're going to do this at this point. At 6 months, I'm supposed to have started this course. At 8 months, I'm supposed to have started this course. And they are waiting and they are waiting and they are waiting. And you promise them at the beginning that this is what you're going to do, and you've not implemented it. It's not going to go well, and it's not going to help improve retention with the organization. It's going to make the employee lose trust with the organization. And the only reason why the employee would maybe stay would be maybe because they've not gotten another opportunity. Once they get another opportunity, they are gone, right? But if from the very beginning, you made those aspects clear to them and you follow through with it, they would likely stay. And I say likely because there are people you will not even if you give them all the opportunities in the world, you would not be able to retain them because they are not stable people. Right?
Emeka.
They are not stable people. Then you have performance reviews, right? So how do you implement is another strategy, is another framework for implementing career development initiatives and opportunities. So during performance reviews, you're able to, like I said before, identify skill gaps. You're able to identify where areas of concern the organization, then you're able to discuss the career aspirations of the employee under review. You create development plans. Like I said, you have the PIP, you have the IDP, you have the CAP, regular review cycles provide natural opportunities for career conversations and goal adjustments. Most times it is during performance reviews that we know if somebody is going to be promoted to a particular role or sometimes even demoted, right? It is during performance reviews that this happens. So it just doesn't promotions don't happen, or most times doesn't happen out of the blues. Yeah, there has to be a review or reviews done before some promotions happen, right? Because we want to review, okay, what have you been up to? How have you been able to meet up with your KPIs? How have you been able to how have you initiated, new programs within the organization? What have you done differently, to improve the world of work within the organization? How have you been able to let's say embody the core values of the organization? Because you need to know that the core values of the organization is also important for every employee to be able to embody, right? How have you been able to grow your role? How is your decision-making process? How is your decision-making abilities? What skills have you, acquired since you joined, in this period, within this period of time? What have you done differently? What have you done better? How have you grown? All these things are able to tell the reviewer, or tell HR what exactly or how best to invest career development programs within the organization, right? So helps us identify skill gaps, helps us to discuss, okay, what are your career goals? What are you looking forward to? What do you want to be, let's say by next appraisal? Where do you think you want to be? How do you want us to support you? All of those. So with that information in mind, you should be able to create career development plans for the employees, right? So you know that your career development plans that you are creating for the employee is data driven. It's not just from anywhere. It is actually data driven because you have the data, you have supporting data for this particular plan that you're creating. Then another one is organizational change. So you are supporting reskilling, redeployment, during restructuring, during changes that has to do with technology, maybe there are strategic shifts. When we say strategic shifts, something like mergers and acquisitions, all of that, all of those. So change periods create urgent development needs and opportunities for rapid skill acquisition. So at this point, we are having something like a reactive career development plan, because right now it is very urgent. It is something that we have to do right now. It is like a matter of urgency, needs to be done. And so we need to upskill people, we need to reskill people, we need to redeploy people to certain areas or to certain departments or to certain roles. And for us to redeploy them, they need to be trained, because you will not just carry somebody from HR and dump the person in, say, business development without proper training. You need to train people. And it's just very important to know that people are trainable, right? Or not skills, you can train any skill at all, right? There are skills that you can train and people will be able to acquire those skills, and perform very well in the role. So it's very important that even as you are devising or creating developmental needs for reactive situation, reacting to changes, it's very important that you are able to identify areas that would be of importance to the employee and then to the organization. So you're not just generalizing your training, you're personalizing it to the employee and to the role that we are reskilling or redeploy the person to. You're personalizing it, you're not generalizing it. It is very important. So moving on. So did a kind of HR decision map here, so you know exactly which particular opportunity or strategy should be implemented, right? So we know that the personal growth, which is individual focused, is about structured mentoring, peer coaching circles, and leadership shadowing. So for structured mentoring, we can have it done during onboarding, when we want high potential, when there is somebody with high potential growth, and when we need knowledge transfer to be done. So we need a higher HR professional to transfer the knowledge they have about the role to an entry-level person, right? Then for peer coaching circles, Yeah, we can do it during mid-level collaboration, or when, for instance, there is no the company is low on funds and cannot maybe at that point afford to send people for external trainings and all that. So the organization can look for people that are really, really good or are subject matter experts within the organization, and have them, coach certain employees on, certain subject matter, right? So you have maybe somebody um, within the HR department. I'm using HR because I'm more, I have more understanding about HR than any other place. So you're looking at somebody within HR department, and you need the person to, you need everyone in the organization to be able to know, for instance, this new tax law that has been passed into, sorry, this new tax act that has been passed into law, right? Somebody already has a subject matter knowledge about it. Somebody is already an expert in it, right? And the organization probably does not even have the financial capacity to send other people for external training. What the organization can do for pair coaching circles would be to have this HR person train the other HR people, right? Or coach them right now, coach them and have them understand, gain the skill for, the new tax law, have them understand what it is about and how they can apply it to, the payroll, the payroll system and all that. So that is how pair coaching works. Then you have the leadership shadowing, which can be done for leadership grooming and then for succession readiness. So when you're looking at succession planning, when you're working towards succession planning, you can use the leadership shadowing. Then we have the skill and experience expansion, which is performance focused, right? So you're looking at job rotation, and it can be used for early career exploration. So you're looking at people that are new in their career. And that is why I mentioned graduate training program in the beginning, right? And then you're also looking at re-engagement or leadership prepping. So re-engagement would be maybe having employees to, have a new sense of, different roles in the organization, or different people have different engagement opportunities within the organization. And then you have the leadership prepping, which is also related to succession planning in a way too. Then you have the cross-functional exposure, which is about breaking silos, right? So we have people working across different functions to bring them together to work. We pair this person or this HR person in, say, an IT department, just so that they are able to maybe work on HR related technology products, right? Then innovation also, and then for collaborative leadership. Then you have the stretch assignments, which you could use for leadership readiness. So you want somebody to learn project management. You now pair the person, you have the person manage a project. You have them manage that project from start to finish, from end to end. You have them manage it. And then it also builds resilience. So by the time they're able to finish a project from start to finish, something they had little or no knowledge about or no preparation for, they'll be able to build their resilience. And then they'll be able to have this, high capacity to maintain calm when they're under pressure, right? Then you have the long-term planning, which is really organizational focused. So you have the career pathing, which you can use when you are clarifying growth options for the employees, and when you are aiming to boost your employee retention or your talent retention. And it also helps to build stability, because by the time you have a lot of employees remaining in the organization for a very long time, there will be stability within the organization. And then you now talk about succession planning that could be used, or that is used for leadership continuity. So when this person leaves this particular position, there should be somebody that should take over immediately, right, without leaving gap. So at the time you've had your succession planning done, you have somebody already waiting to take over a particular position when the incumbent leaves. And then you're also using succession planning for talent pipelines, making sure that there are available talent at every given point, and then reducing risk. So risk related to employees leaving abruptly within, from the organization, right? Somebody just resigns, or somebody is, terminated. So by the time that is done, we need to fill up that role immediately. So it is through succession planning that we are able to achieve this. So the tip is that if the goal is guidance and adjustments, you want to guide the person and you want to adjust, you want to make the person adjust to, say, to gaining new skills or to knowing how to perform a particular task, then you use mentoring and you use coaching, respectively. And then if the goal is for breadth and resilience, then you use rotation, you use exposure, that's cross-functional exposure, then you use stretch assignments. And then if the goal is for future proofing, making sure that you reduce the risk as much as possible, you use career pathing and succession planning. I hope that makes sense. So career development frameworks for HR professionals, you can use this one individually as employees. So a systemic approach to career development provides structure and clarity for both employees and HR professionals. So this five-stage framework can be applied individually or integrated into organizational development programs. So you ask yourself, where are you now, right? You evaluate the current skills that everyone has in the organization, or each person has within the organization. You assess their current skills, you assess the strength that they have, you assess what they're interested in, what they value, and what their career preferences would be, right? So this foundation stage helps to, it's like the building block upon which every other stage would, emerge from, right? Then the next one is to plan. Where do I want to go, right? You either ask yourself or you ask the employee, where do you want to go? Or you ask yourself, where do I want to go? So you're setting clear career goals, you're identifying desired roles within the organization or outside of the organization or wherever it is that you want that role or that role is existing, right? And then understanding the requirements for advancement. What is required for me to get to this position? What is required for me to get to being head of HR or global head of HR? Most times you know that for you to actually become a global head of HR, you should have some international exposure, building your experience, getting certified by a globally recognized body, right? And then this stage transforms aspiration into concrete objectives. So by the time you've written out or you've clearly spelled out what the career goal is, where you want to be, what is required, you are able to really know, okay, what it is and what my goals are. You are able to work towards it. And then we move on to develop, which has to do with what you need. What do I need, or what does the person need, right? So you're identifying specific development requirements, which could be training. Is it training? Does this person need training? Based on what we've clarified, or based on what we've been able to establish, does this person need training? Does this person need mentorship? Or what kind of experiences does this person need? So, okay, we need this person we can see that this person needs some leadership skills. This person really has, some, heavy skills, right? But we need this person to be able to make some leadership move, some very bold move, some strategic decisions. Okay, let us now pair this person. Let us pair this person with another leader so that this person is able to do some form of leadership shadowing. This person is able to work in this leader's shoes for maybe a period of 6 months, gaining experiences and all that, acquiring the skills needed to be a leader, right? And then the next one is to act. So what steps should I take, right? What should I do? What should the person do? Am I going to take some courses? Am I going to involve myself in some projects, or am I going to, go outside there, meet new people, network, get to know some people, or do I take on, or do I assign to these employees some stretch assignments, just to be able to build resilience and to build the right capabilities or skills needed for a particular role, right? And then you review. We talked about reviewing earlier because it's very important that we're able to measure, we're able to evaluate the effort we put into processes, right? So how do I measure progress? How do I know that I'm making progress? How do I know I'm getting there, right? How do I know that I'm very close to what I want to achieve? So how do you do this? You make sure that you put in place systems that are able to assess the progress that people are making or that you are making. So this could be through feedback, through performance appraisals or evaluation, and then some self-reflection, all right? Just so you can adjust plans or maintain the momentum. So most times when we assign maybe PIP, when we place people on PIP, or we assign some IDP, individual development plans to certain people, we ask them, what we ask them to do is, okay, as long as you're submitting proof of completion, we also need you to write a reflection note, right? Write a reflection note on what you've learned so far. What have you learned so far? And how are you applying what you've learned? To communicate what they've learned so far. That is the feedback. They should be able to communicate what they've learned so far and how they are going to be able to apply it, in their role. What skills have they been able to gain and how are they going to apply it? It is very important. Right? We should be able to see it, we should be able to measure it, and then the line manager should be able to speak on what they've done so far and how maybe the development plans or the trainings they've gone through has really shaped, their experience or their skills, as it may be. So moving on, building the future of career development. So this is the last slide. So I would like for everyone to just take a moment, reflect on your own career journey. Consider the initiatives that has led or that has had the most significant impact on your own professional growth. Was it a formal training, or was it a mentorship relationship, or was it a challenging project that sort of stretched your capabilities and gave room for you to explore new horizons, right? So understanding our own career development experiences helps us design better programs for others. The most effective HR professionals draw from their personal journeys to create meaningful development opportunities. So that begs for us to be reflective professionals. So we are reflecting on, okay, what have I done that has worked best? What have I done that has not worked? And how can I make this knowledge, how can I implement this knowledge in my career or in my workplace, just so that I'm able to improve processes. So what we need to know is that career development is a shared responsibility between the employee and the organization. So we need to know that career development succeeds when employees own their career journey, while the organization is able to provide the support system, the resources, and the opportunity for them to grow. We also need to know that, like I said earlier, career development is not linear anymore. It is not just, one line, one straight line. It can go in any direction. It is fluid, it is personalized, and it is deeply, deeply rooted in employee engagement. So another one is for us to know that HR are architects. We are the ones that build the systems. We are the ones that put in the framework, right? we build the walls, we build the floor plan, we're able to make sure that we put in those systems just so that people are able to grow in their career, the organization is able to support employees, and employees can see that the organization actually cares about the employees. So moving forward, I'm just going to read what I have here. Moving forward, as you return to your organization, remember that career development is not a program to be implemented, but a mindset to be embedded throughout your HR practice. So let it be a culture for you as an HR professional, right? Every interaction, every policy decision, and every strategic initiative should consider its impact on employee growth and development. So we should also know that the most successful organizations of the future will be those that master the art and science of human development, creating environments where every employee can thrive, grow, and contribute their best work. And so as HR professionals, we have the privilege and the responsibility of making this vision a reality. So the onus is on us to be able to provide the organization with the advice to do the right thing when it comes to the employees, making sure that the employees who are the heart of the organization are supported in their career, in their development, and just making them feel valued, and like they belong with the organization. So I think this brings us to the end of the training session. Thank you for listening. I hope I was able to provide better insights to.
Wow. This was fantastic. Phenomenal. I'm so proud of you, my sister. Definitely you must come back. Definitely and quickly too. This was a real masterclass on career management. I'm so excited. I listened with rapt attention. I followed you back to back. No dull moment at all. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to share your thoughts, comments, opinion, impressions around this subject matter or real life experience, or you have one or two questions, either on how to manage career for your colleagues and team members at work, or perhaps you also want to ask about your own personal career, I think this is a good opportunity. If you quickly raise your hands, we'd like to take a few contributions and comments, and then we can call it a wrap. We're also checking the chat to see if anyone is typing or has typed or dropped any message. I see a lot of people saying thank you, using emojis and emoticons to show their appreciation for the profound session we just facilitated.
Thank you. Thank you, Lukman.
Just checking. You can go on, Madam Princess. Thank you, ma'am.
Sorry, son.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so very much, Madam, for that masterclass. It is indeed a masterclass that you just presented. Just like our prof, I listened all the way through. And one of the things that I would say I'm really, really, happy that you mentioned is the fact that people need to realize that, career growth is different. You understand? It's not the same thing as what you've just presented. And a lot of times people really mistake them. So when you're on a career growth, what has been presented to us now is a platform where we can then be able to grow and thrive, because there's a pathway, there's a system, there's a structure in place that serves as an enabler for you to then start figuring out how you want to map your career growth gradually, and all of the things that are open to us to explore. I like the what's that one? The processes and the one that you said is mutating. I'm going to go back to the
boundaryless
boundaryless and the other one, the one that is The one that is from the Roman person that you
Okay,
said, the god.
Yeah, the protein carrier.
The protein, yes, the protein. I like that, but I particularly like that bit because it's really a manifestation of what it's actually happening now. Because a lot of the younger generation want to be the boundaryless kind of thing in their career
Yes.
growth. And it is this type of structure that will create that environment for them to be able to do that, to be able to thrive, to be able to say, I am holding down this job. However, I'm also interested in doing that. I'm also interested in doing another thing without anything being jeopardized at all. So that for me, that's my take, including all the other things that you've really shared. So thank you very much. Very, very,
Thank you.
very interesting and enlightening. Thank you. Well done, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that.
Okay. All right. We don't see any other hands up. We can as well.
Sorry, Prof. Can I just say, I was just wondering, ma'am, for an organization that has not had it in their plan, a lot of people just have L&D, and then the HR does well. For an organization who doesn't have that at all, how do they plug it in? How do they plug that in? How will they be able to plug it in and ride on it? You remember you said something on your closing remark that it is a way of life. It is not something that, you just want to put there. It is something that you imbibe in its entirety, and make a culture within your organization. So for an organization that's not made it a culture, that's just about, the hierarchical growth. You understand, you go from one level and you do your exam or you do whatever it is or your performance appraisal and you're put into the next level and all of that. How can they then, embrace this in their organization when they don't have it before? Is it the job of the HR? Is it the job of the top management? Is it I can figure out in my mind what that answer will be. However, I'd like you to share from your perspective, how this can happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. I would say that for organizations that don't have the system in place, and by system, I know you mean like a culture, right? A culture of learning.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. For organizations that don't have the culture, I would actually say, for instance, the people are already in the organization, right? So let's start from putting in this structure, and that would mean, okay, HR maybe first talking to management about the need to have a learning culture within the organization. Okay, get management buy-in. Then we start talking to department heads. This is what we are looking at. We are looking at putting a policy in place that helps employees to grow. Remember when I said we need to have policy development, right? This is where it will come in, because now we are putting policies that help to promote learning within the organization. Okay, so what are the rewards for anybody that's taking this course or that's gone through these trainings? How do we reward this person? How do we make sure that people are noticed for the effort they put into their learning ability? So now we are saying, okay, we have policies in place. We are making sure that there's a reward system. We are tying learning now to promotions. So for you to get promoted, you must have had some courses done. So it's no longer like before. So you can just get promoted just on the basis of the appraisal of the skills or the impacts that you've done, in the organization. We are going to say, okay, we are tying promotions now to, the learnings that you've done in the past. But we have to also make sure that we are going to communicate it in advance to employees, so that by the next appraisal or by the next promotional season, they are already prepared for that. And then also we are maybe from the onboarding system, or from the onboarding process, rather, the onboarding section that we are having with employees, we're already putting it in their mind that this place, so you have to be self-motivated, you have to have the learning, the learning mindset. You have to have you have to be self-motivated when it comes to your learning. You're owning your learning your learning processes on your own. So how we do it in places where I've worked is the fact that on the very first day, we assign you a course. We assign a course to you. You have to do it. You present us with your reflection notes. Okay, this is what I've learned, and this is how I plan to apply what I've learned in my role or in the task that I'm going to be given. So we assign them courses, and then from time to time, we also assign them courses. And that is why I say, okay, we also have to have platforms. Organizations have to have platforms where employees can just easily go and learn, right? Dedicated platforms. So they go there, they learn. And then at the end of during performance cycles, performance appraisal cycles, we also assess them based on what they've learned or based on the trainings they've done or the courses they've taken. So we know that learning in that organization is a must. You must go through some career development programs, which is, which should be self-driven. It should also be self-driven, because how we also do it is, okay, apart from the courses that we assign to you, how many courses have you, in your own initiative, taken, right? To just enhance your, your experience, to acquire new skills, and look for creative and new ways of doing things, right? So I think, from my experience, that's how we've been doing it, and I believe that should also work for organizations that have not been doing that and would want to start doing that. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Thank you. Near enough. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I just
Okay.
feel
You said near enough, so I would want you to share.
Like what I was just going to, in my mind, if I was going to, deal with that, I would say that, yes, I like, the fact that the onboarding and all of that, but the culture of every organization starts with the owners of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And so irrespective of what HR is trying to drive, if the culture of that organization does not start from, the top dogs. So what I would think is to say that, the first step will be ensure that you carry that thing and take it to the top dogs, get their buy-in, and then, of course, do all of that communications and every other thing that comes with it that you need to do. And it's almost going to be like a change management within the organization to say, going forward, this is the new culture of this organization. Everything that we have before, including this new one, because really everything is dynamic. Things changes all the time. So for me, I think that for every organization that thrives on a good culture, it always starts with the buy-in of the top dogs, the management. And if we're able to get that, if we're able to get their buy-in and all of that, I think that organization will be able to, also imbibe this new structure that we have in place. And then after that, it then goes to ensuring that we keep to it. That is where then the HR will then be really, really hands-on, pushing it and driving it in the appropriate way, going through all of those things that you've presented to us to ensure that it then becomes a part of them, all the time. That would just be my own side, of thinking.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I think I mentioned management's buy-in at the beginning. So I mentioned that HR should ideally start a conversation with the management and get their buy-in, because like you mentioned, without their buy-in, then it will be difficult to actually implement any learning, or implement structures that would enable the organization to have a learning culture. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, ma'am. My apologies if I didn't pick that up. So thank you.
No, thank you. It's reinforcement, I believe, too.
Thank you so much again. Thank you, Chinaza. Thank you so much, Madam Princess, for your insightful contributions, comments, and questions, and everyone that has contributed one way or the other to making tonight's session a fantastic one. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's unmute and let's verbalize our appreciation for Chinaza.
Chinasa, thank you
Thank you, Madam
much.
Chinaza. And thank you, Prof, for
Thank you.
always giving us that, this platform to keep learning every day. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Continue to strengthen you.
Thank you, Mr. Lukman. Thank you, Madam Princess.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. We're grateful.
Thank you, Madam Uju. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.